have a couple comic book stories here from GoingToTheComics.com. I'll leave the links in the description box. You can read them for yourself because I'm going to kind of gloss over some of the stuff. Comic book pros mock, deny complaints from veteran shop owner regarding abysmal state of the market. His business is dying because he refuses to change with the times. No real surprise there that any kind of complaint that these guys get is just met with complete nonsense. But anyway, there's a comic book shop owner who does a YouTube series, and he takes some of these people to task, basically. You know, he talks about, like for instance, the Hood. He complains about how stupid the Hood is and how stupid they writing. The part I want to talk about real quick is when he's talking, his attention is now fully focused on the industry at large. O'Leary then speculated this overall decline in the industry's quality was due to the fact that writers nowadays, they don't care about who or what the writer is or the character is anymore. Most of these new writers don't have a love of comics like these older writers had. All they care about is, how do I put myself in the book? Which is completely true. To this end, the shop owner declared, no, we don't care about what you would do if you were Iron Man. We don't care who you are. You're writing Tony Stark. You're not writing yourself in a book. If that's the case, write your own comic with you in it. No one will read it because nobody cares. Then he goes on and said, people are growing up loving Peter Parker, loving Miles Morales, loving Captain America. We don't need you to put your input in it. Just write Steve Rogers. Don't write what would Steve Rogers be like if I was Steve Rogers. That's not how it works. But that's, again, how most of these new people nowadays write nowadays. That's why most of this stuff is shit, because readers don't care about what a given writer would do, because we don't care about your life whatsoever. And it, finishes up, just write a book, get paid for what you do, get paid for what you're supposed to be doing, and make it a good story. He finally concluded, we don't need your opinions. As you can imagine, that wasn't met very well. Initially, O'Leary's take did not garner any widespread attention. However, this all changed a few days after the premiere. The segment in question was clipped and shared to Twitter by user at DefNotTie, I guess. But anyway, O'Leary's opinion finally caught the attention of the very industry he was criticizing. In a now deleted tweet, basically from Donny Cates, don't you guys hate how when you go into a hardware store, how the guy behind the counter always tells you how much hammers suck? And it's like, well, no, but I do expect the guy behind the counter to tell me if this specific hammer sucks. If this hammer is going to fall to pieces after you use it for a month or so, then yeah, I kind of would like that information myself. But anyway, the creator of Ahoy Comics, Jamal Eagle, likewise claimed he's going to be real shocked about how all comics have been written and how writing in general works. His business is dying because he refuses to change with the times. There's a simple rule in sales. Continued the former Marvel Comics and DC artist in response to a user questioning O'Leary's decision to publicly decry the abysmal state of the industry. Showing contempt for the product shows contempt for the customer. Don't do it. Sell everything like you love it. So lie to your customers, essentially. Performing his own write-off of O'Leary's concerns, former Spider-Man franchise director Tom Brennan asserted 30-year comic shop owner knows nothing about how comics, I think, have always been made. Okay, yeah, they did say that. Fixed it for you. And it goes on and stuff. I mean, Ram V, Pushback, anyone who describes writing as you get paid to write the stuff we want has not a clue what writing is about. Actually, retweeting V's post, which is complete bullshit. Ron Mars, I actually got blocked by this pussy dude just earlier today. Because I responded, I'm sure a lot of people probably got blocked by his punk ass. It's not a restaurant. You don't get to order what you want off the menu. That's such a fucking cop-out. Because it's, it completely overlooks the way the entertainment industry is and always has been. You got to give the people what they want. If you don't give them what they want, they're not going to pay you. You're not going to get paid. It's like comic books have been canceled. Comic books have been produced based on the whims of the readers, what the readers want. If the readers want to see more of this character, he or she will be shown more often in certain books. Maybe they'll get their own book. If the characters are unpopular, their books are going to get canceled because sales are going to suck. But anyway, I've already spent 4 minutes on this story. I want to move this one real quick. Marvel Comics executive Tom Brevoort denies industry is dying. Instead argues what is likely happening is that the market is changing. Yes, and you're not changing with it, idiots, but, whatever. He says that the currently desolate landscape of the modern comic book industry is not a result of its dying, but rather the fact that the market is changing. Brevoort, whose current list of assignments and publishers include Captain America, Avengers, and their current crossover event Gods, offers his diagnosis of the industry on November 20th via the 86th overall entry made to his personal Substack, Man with a Hat. That's a weird title, okay. His desire to speak on the topic self-reportedly piqued by an unspecified column written by one prominent retailer. Seems the catalyst in question was the November 7th piece, Comic Book Stores 2023 is nearly 2024, and I'm more than concerned. As penned by Coliseum of Comics proprietor Phil Boyle for both ICV2 and Bounding the Comics. Brevoort began his response with the assertion, forget about comic books, retailing of any sort is in an extremely difficult vocation in 2023, following on the heels of the global pandemic and lockdown that disrupted regular buying patterns. There's some truth to that, no question, I'm not going to deny that, but at the same time, you're also seeing the comic book industry shrink a hell of a lot more than you're seeing other industries, in similar situations. Everybody wants to move on and pretend that nothing happened, everything's back to normal, but it isn't. The time that will take is a lot longer if it ever happens. By the same note, I can recall similar conversations to this one taking place all the way back to my entry into the business in 1989. No doubt they were going on before that, particularly in the 1970s and the 50s, and so on and so on. For whatever reason, the comic book field has a stronger pull towards its own mortality than other areas. We somehow delight in predicting the demise of the very thing that we enjoy so much. It's called, for one, passionate fans care about stuff. But anyway, basically, I'll like I said, I'll link these in the description box. You can read them for yourself. I'm pretty much done. This video's over 6 minutes longer than I wanted to make it. But anyway, I look at the current video game, or I look at the current comic book industry as similar to the video game crash of the early 80s with Atari and stuff. It wasn't until the NES came that kind of saved the industry, or whatever, however you want to look at it. I think that's how it is now. Like Marvel and DC especially. I mean, you're seeing, and there's indies that are garbage too. Of course, I don't want to act like all indies are great. There's so many freaking indies, it's crazy. But anyway, but Marvel and DC just keep digging themselves deeper and deeper into a hole. And every time you think they've reached rock bottom, they somehow find a way to get more dirt out of the hole. And it's just insane. Like I said, the industry has shrunken a lot more than comparable industries. For instance, movies and stuff. Yeah, this has been a down year for movies. It's been a terrible year for movies because a lot of the movies just haven't been good. A lot of people have been burned. They're getting sick of it, yada, yada, yada. But you still had a movie like Barbie that made over, I think it was $1.3 billion. You had the Super Mario Brothers movie. You had this movie. You had a couple other movies that were very successful. Now, maybe not as much as it was before and stuff, but you're not seeing the equivalent of like in comic books, because like comic book sales are basically in the toilet. Other than like stuff like manga and everything. American, like Western comics, however you want to look at it, they're down. They've gone down. They're on their ass. And quite frankly, it's the kind of thing where you're like, you don't know if they can recover at this point. Maybe they are like Atari and are going to bury themselves in a field. 4 million copies of E.T. buried in the field or whatever however that goes. I'm not sure how many actually were buried under there, but anyway. Maybe something like that, and then someone else will have to come up and rise up. Now they do have, decades upon decades of these, classic characters that people love. So maybe they can make a go of it, but maybe the best thing for the comic book industry is for its current incarnation to die, quote unquote, and then Marvel and DC get resurrected like a phoenix from the ashes. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, enough rambling here. Like I said, I'll link these in the description box. You can read them for yourself. They're good reads, I guess, if you don't mind kind of sighing to yourself and shaking your head at some of the stupidity coming out of the mouth of these people. But anyway, thank you very much for watching and have a good one.